we've all gathered up and talked to everybody, and he's a big cigar fan, and we're like, yeah, we need to pitch in and get him his finest cigars, whatever he wants.
I think you better get that guy more than just cigars. While you're at it, go ahead and get that guy laid. We have another one of those little cases of a good guy with a gun stopping a bad guy with a gun. 29-year-old Jake Murphy went to an Amazon Flex facility in Chandler, Arizona, and figured he would squeeze off a few rounds at some coworkers. And of course, after seriously wounding one of them, a good guy with a gun actually stepped up. Now, guys, not a lot of details have been released on this individual yet, the good guy with the gun, but let's just go ahead and say this. Good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns almost all the time. Or at least in the sense when good guys with guns are around. Now, I know that just seemed a little bit hyperbolic, but let's just be honest. The best deterrent in the world that you can have against a bad guy with a gun is obviously a good guy with a gun. Now, guys, I'm going to roll for you the entire news report, and then we're going to come back on the other side and talk about this. So let's go ahead and roll this.
The shooter shot at an Amazon contractor in the parking lot, severely injuring him. According to Chandler police, another Amazon contractor saw the scene and acted quickly.
The third individual involved did shoot back at our suspect during the shooting. It's very likely, though, that the contractor employee who returned fire on the shooter could have stopped an active shooter.
Police saying what could have been many lives lost was stopped quickly by a Good Samaritan.
This was not something I had ever expected.
Bobbitt says he knows the two co-workers involved, and his friends at the warehouse are already planning a thank you for the man who stopped the shooter.
Extremely grateful for him, and we've all gathered up and talked to everybody, and he's a big cigar fan, and we're like, yeah, we need to pitch in and get him his finest cigars, whatever he wants, because he saved a lot of us.
Now, guys, I showed you this report for a reason. I want you guys to pay attention to something really quick. This right here was obviously reported on the local news. Obviously, it was reported by a local Arizona outlet, and of course, ABC News has picked up on it. But here's the thing. Even though this particular story was put in print on abcnews.com, let's just go ahead and be honest. This story, while great that a good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a gun, and even though somebody got injured in the process, it's more than likely never going to make the national news. Now, the guy who was injured, the guy who's facing life-threatening injuries, let's pray for him. Let's make sure this guy makes it through. We hope he makes a full recovery. Obviously, the bad guy with the gun, he obviously needed to be stopped. And obviously, the co-workers that this guy has at this Amazon facility, they should obviously rejoice. And as I was alluding to earlier in the video, they need to get this guy laid to go on top of obviously getting him some cigars. But the fact of the matter is this right here. There's a reason why stories like this right here don't make the national news. They don't make the national news because obviously it's not a part of the agenda. You see, right now we have a mainstream media, we have a Democratic Party, we have a federal government right now that is focused on gun control. Now, guys, I've stayed away from the Second Amendment topics recently because I haven't exactly known where to put them out, but obviously they're going to be coming up more and more and more on both channels infrequently from time to time, especially when I start doing projects. And I may, of course, take all the Gear Issue 33 stuff and put them on another channel that's actually on the Claymore channel itself as Gear Issue 33 transitions to military movie reviews. But as we talk about society, you do obviously need to have a Second Amendment, and people obviously do need to be armed. I mean, the crime rate is about to go through the roof higher than what it already is. I did a video the other day on Philadelphia and how it was that a convenience store owner has hired a private security firm, and I gotta wonder if some of these big businesses may consider doing the exact same thing here in the near future. There are other said incidents, like for example, there was an incident that I think that happened this past weekend, I think in New York City, where let's just say a young African-American male thought that he could get behind the counter of an Asian convenience store, and the guy, he didn't die, he didn't get killed, but he obviously attacked these guys, and they fought back, and they beat the literal hell out of him. You see, when society and when they decide they want to defund their police departments, when criminals act up, eventually people are going to start to step up. Now, this right here may not have been a case of actually somebody stepping up. This right here may have been a case of somebody being at the right place at the right time. And of course, as a result, he was able to save the rest of his coworkers and colleagues. Granted, one of them was wounded. Fact of the matter is that an armed society is a safe society, and you're starting to see this. But of course, the mainstream media is never going to cover this because it obviously does not fit the actual agenda. The agenda is obviously gun control. Now, as far as gun control in the future, and I'm going to take a second to talk about this, and I'm also going to talk back on the national media, but let me go ahead and take care of this news outlet thing first. You're not going to hear stories like this in the national news unless maybe if you go to Fox or Newsmax. Not really a fan of Newsmax. I think Newsmax, for the most part, is grifting off of Fox News as jilted viewers. Fox News used to cover stories like this all the time. Now, I have no idea what they're going to do. They're kind of sort of changing their platform because Paul Wright is one of the writers, and of course Rupert Murdoch, he is over there, and he's very, very much a never-Trumper, so we don't know what we're going to see there. Fact of the matter is this right here. These type of stories normally do not make it to the national news for a reason. National news does not want to cover these stories. They don't want to cover the actual positives, that a bad guy was actually stopped by a good guy with a gun. Obviously, we have a media that likes to push gun control. Now, I want to go ahead and leave the video at this point right here. We have exactly 51 Democrat senators coming in to Washington, D.C. Okay, they're going to be in the United States Senate come next year. I am not saying that mass shootings are going to go up, but I am going to say if the economy continues to get bad, if the inflation continues to get worse, guess what's going to happen? Crime rate is going to go up, and with that, in these bigger cities, shootings are going to go up, and which, by the way, the mainstream media is not going to report about. They're never going to report about all the violence that happens in Chicago. They try to report mass shootings, and of course, they're probably a little bit upset right now that a mass shooting was actually averted by a good guy with a gun. This is obviously a good thing that somebody was able to put this guy down and keep this bad guy from going any further. Fact of the matter is this right here, though. We have only, even though one seat in the Senate disadvantage, it's not much of a disadvantage. However, the Congress is only 9 or plus 9 Republican. There does exist some rhinos in the actual party, so we are not actually safe on this. So, guys, make sure that make sure you keep on acting. Make sure you keep on filing. Make sure you keep on going through with the lawsuits, so that way we can protect our Second Amendment rights. And on that note, right there, one of the projects that is set to come out next month is going to be an actual project on the Second Amendment, an actual breakdown, an actual explanation of it, the actual roots, its actual origins, the reason why it exists. We're going to be having that video out one day next month. It will probably come out first ahead of the First Amendment video that I have planned, because I think the Second Amendment in a lot of ways is the most amendment in the Constitution, especially given the crap we are seeing today. Guys, John Claymore, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.